Okay, for this video we're going to tie a grasshopper, primarily made out of foam. Foam and elk hair, those seem to be my two favorite materials for tying larger dry flies because they both float well. This hopper fly I actually call the Chernobyl Hopper because once we tie it, you'll see that it's similar to a Chernobyl fly, and but it's a little bit more the color of grasshopper. So, okay, again, I've got some 4mm foam here that's tan on one side and yellow on the other. And what we're going to do is we're only going to tie this foam to the hook in 2 spots. Right now I'm just kind of sizing my foam, and I'm going to cut it about right there. So snip that. The size hook we have right here is actually a size 6 2x long dry fly. You can use any size you want, but for this fly I prefer to go with a larger hook because you end up tying in there's quite a bit of stuff on it, and it's a pretty buggy looking fly, so to tie all that on you need a little bigger hook. So first thing is I'm going to get my thread on there. Then just more for a base, I actually dub in just a little bit of dubbing, and when I put the dubbing on, of course, it's you want to twist that dubbing in the same direction. It fastens it to the thread a lot better. Sometimes I'll lick my fingers a little bit to kind of moisten it up if I don't have wax. That seems to help tighten that dubbing up. And this dubbing really doesn't have to do with much with the body or anything. I like to put it on this fly because when I tie the foam on, it helps the foam just, I think, cinch down to the hook a little bit better. So I try to go with a uniform body. And the first part of the fly will get tied in back here, so I'm going to bring my thread to the back. Okay, I sized my foam earlier. I want it to stick a little bit past the eye and a little bit past the back of the bend. And that'll probably get trimmed a little bit, but this is about where we want it. So I'm going to tie this foam in right there. Notice I've got the yellow facing down if the fly was sitting on the water, and the tan facing up. You could tie it the other way around if you would like. This is just how I prefer it. So I'm going to get some nice good tight wraps on this right here. Fasten that fly down right there. Okay, so I've got that on there. Next thing I'm going to tie in is a couple of rubber legs. I like to use black. You can use any colors you want. Sometimes I've used they call it tiger striping. I think it's the yellow and black stripe. That looks nice as well. But for this fly, I'm going to use black. I tie those rubber legs in right on the top here. They won't stay there on the top, but I've got 2 rubber legs. I tie them in like this, about 3 to 4 soft wraps. Holds them in place. Then once I get it there, I'm going to use my scissors, run my scissors right through the middle of those 2 different rubber legs and pull it up. So now I've got 4 strands sticking up. I grab this side, grab the other side, and I just kind of pull. And that gets the rubber legs right to the side of the fly, right where we want it. Okay, so we've done that. Now that I've done that, I'm going to pull that foam back. I'm going to wrap my thread up here to the head of the fly. Not quite up to the front, but maybe about the same distance back as I have the back of the fly, where I tied in all the material in the back of the fly. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tie this foam down nice and tight. Hopefully I don't break my thread. If I do, just bear with me, I'll re-thread it. I'm cinching this down pretty good. Okay, looking pretty good. I see I've got a little bit too much here. I'll end up snipping some of that off. Okay, next step, going to use some elk hair. As I mentioned before, a lot of my flies I tie with elk hair. I like to have it on the top. It just helps the fly right itself better in the air before it settles on the water. So I'm going to get a little pinch of elk hair and snip it. A lot of times with elk hair, I go with the motto that less is more. You don't want to have too much elk hair on there. It's really not necessary. So snip a little bit, and usually when you snip elk hair, you got some of that fuzzy stuff in the back, just kind of that fur that hangs out inside the elk hair. I'd like to pull that stuff out. I like to get that out of there. It just Makes it easier for fastening the hair to the hook. Once I get that stuff kind of cleaned out, then I'm going to use my hair stacker. Stack the hair. Looks good, nice and even. Okay. I'm going to take that elk hair. I'm going to set it right on top of there. And I usually try to make the elk hair about the same length as the rest of the foam. Once I have it where I want it, hold it in my left hand, make a loose wrap around it. Once I'm fully around it, then I'll kind of pull on it. You can see the elk hair flaring. That means I'm getting it good and tight. Again, if I break my thread, I'll just rethread it. But like, get that one good wrap on there, get it nice and fastened right where I want it, and then I go with my successive wraps. My wraps, you don't want your wraps to land over the top of the other one. Try to move slowly to the front or towards the back of the fly when you're doing this. It just helps your wraps really cinch down on that elk hair, because elk hair does have a tendency to twist on you. Okay, once you think you've got it, which it looks like I do, I like to wrap over the top of my other wraps 2 or 3 times. Call it good. Now I don't want this stuff in the front, I just want the stuff in the back, so I'm going to kind of try to pinch that up. Run my needle nose scissors right up through here. Just snip what I want to get rid of. Okay. That looks pretty nice. And for a topper, because I don't like the look of this elk hair up here, it just kind of looks unfinished. I usually cut a small piece of foam. Yellow, orange. I prefer yellow when I'm tying this. If I'm tying a salmon fly or something, I'll do, oh wait, before I put in that foam, I actually need to put in some more rubber legs. Getting ahead of myself. So we're going to tie in some more rubber legs. Same process, same method I use for these ones in the back. I'm going to tie it in the top. I got 2 of them actually here. 3 to 4 soft wraps. Run the scissors right through there. Now I grab each side, pull the rubber legs to the side, and they're right where I want them. Now remember, I only did 3 soft wraps, so now I gotta tighten that down a little bit, otherwise those things will be turning and twisting on me when I'm fishing with the fly. So we'll get some good tight wraps on there. Okay, now it's time for the topper. So I'll take this little piece of yellow foam, put it right there, kind of cinch it down. And actually on this fly, the topper probably is not necessary, because this is a big enough fly, you're going to even see it in low light conditions, but I like it. I think it cleans up the fly nicely and kind of gets rid of that, that elk hair. It's all bunched up at the top of your tie. So last step, I'm going to use my whip finisher. I'm going to whip finish this fly off, and then we'll do a little bit of cleaning up on it. We'll snip some stuff. And there it is. All right, so the Chernobyl Hopper. Really a buggy looking fly. Works great when the fish are really keyed in on hoppers. I'm going to snip that topper. It's a little long. A little bit long. I'm going to snip this a little bit because it's a little bit long. Okay. Now for the last step is I'm just going to turn this thing sideways so maybe you can see. I don't know if that works, but we'll see if you can see it. I'm just going to get it out of the way. So I've got this fly. You might notice that the profile of this fly doesn't look much like a bug, and I like to at least kind of try to contour that a little bit so the profile looks a little better. So I take my scissors and I'll cut the head a little bit. I just kind of cut the corners off the head and the tail. Gives it a little more buggy look. They make foam cutters that'll give you a nice, smooth, even looking cut. I don't use them. but they do add a nice, real nice professional look to the fly when you're done, if that's what you're going for. So this is the best I do. I just snip it with my scissors. Right, there you have it. The Chernobyl Hopper.